Okay, next step we have the launch of the newsletter. Before I invite Prof. Tom and Prof. Pekin Leong to sign the mock-up that we have, or it's not a mock-up, it's the front cover of the newsletter. As a sign of launch, I just wanted to give a few background information about the newsletter. The newsletter is actually in the blue bag that you have. This was, the beginnings of this actually started long back, I think. In fact, the last Pedagogy Day 2016, right at the end of it, I remember Chandrima was stopping by at the end of the Pedagogy Day to tell me, why don't we put together all the abstracts? And I remember her telling that. And then following that, Bina was very persevering. And she actually contacted people, and she tried to set up meetings to put together this newsletter. But the ideas also came from many different sources, and Learning Sciences Lab had also sent invite to many of our faculty members to come together to put a special edition for the Asian Journal of Scholarship of Teaching and Learning. So we had submitted about 10 abstracts, and they gave us a feedback that SUTD's context was so unique and special that it might not sort of fit the journal because they want it to be generic. But they suggested that it's very interesting and maybe you wanted to put together a newsletter. So the ideas came from many different sources, and we decided to make it very inclusive, and we had editorial board members from each of the pillars. So you see all the members here. You see Oliver, Singyin, Don, Norman, Bina, and Nazri. So from all the pillars and clusters. And we also had a lot of contributions from not just faculty members, but also staff members in terms of design, whether they were working team or not. People were just giving ideas about design and so on and so forth. So the idea of the title Eduscapes actually came from Oliver, who proposed. He said that Eduscapes refers to educational landscapes as an open field for debates, research, and practices on teaching, always open to connect to new unknown areas with no barriers, with events flowing through and setting landmarks. So, that was his idea, but people sort of built on it. Like when, it was Eduscapes for myself and Kin Leong, it was a little bit of the idea of escapes. And so we thought, we could spell it as Eduscapes, so it's educational escapes, So it was sort of like a collaborative idea, and some others said that it's about different perspectives from the different aspects of SUTD, so the landscapes at SUTD. So, just sharing that it's not one person's idea, including the logo. You'll see that the first version of it, I don't know if you can see from where you're sitting, you'll see some spikes in the head. This was actually an idea from one of the librarians, because people were asking, so what does a figurehead actually represent? What does that mean? So the figurehead actually represents both the author as well as the reader. It's meant to represent all aspects of education, numbers, language, sports, arts, humanities, and it represents every aspect of SUTD. And I think the head in itself is not just about the cognitive thinking abilities, but also the reflective, the dreaming aspect of it, out-of-the-box thinking and creativity. So that's what it represents. And we had people from all the different schools and clusters contributing articles, and these were usually people who won the Pedagogy Innovation Fund, because one of the requirements of the Pedagogy Innovation Fund is that they publish or share in a local or in an internal or a local event. And in order to do so, we have to create and we have to set up those opportunities. So Pedagogy Day is one of that. Pedagogy Newsletter is one of that. But we don't want to limit just to the people who have won the Pedagogy Innovation Fund. We want to open it up to anyone and everyone who is interested, and this includes students. So if you look at the guidelines, anyone from SUTD could contribute to the SUTD newsletter. So for the future newsletter, we hope to make, actually there's enough articles at SUTD to make this biannual or even quarterly, but it just takes so much time that we may not have the energy to do that. But we invite all the articles, and you'll see that the articles are really quality. We have also from, I can't remember. And most importantly, yes, we have 2 interviews from Tom and Kin Leong. I forgot about that. So do go through and enjoy that. But before we can do that, we should first of all launch, and we invite Tom and Kin Leong to sign the board. And we would also like to invite the editorial board members for having contributing to the newsletter. So if I may invite Bina Singin is not here, he's away, Norman. And Oliver is here, please, Oliver. Dawn and Nasri, I think they are away today. Was that mine?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm not sure. Are we signing? Please. Just taking a picture.
I just want to share with the people who are not very familiar with American culture. I realized a long time, 2 years ago, I went to a very big conference, 2,000 people, only one person on stage. He's a MC. He's the one giving out the award. He's the one. He does everything. So here is the same thing here. Now we do all this signing here on stage here, and it's kind of American culture. We do everything by ourselves.
On the other side.